of the House DOJ Subcommittee, also serves on House Budget and Oversight Committee. So welcome, sir, and thanks for joining us this morning. Obviously, Elon Musk is the topic of so many news articles recently, and DOJ is doing a lot to keep track of. What's your analysis of what you've seen so far? And based on that Trump truth post, do you think the president's kind of scaling back Elon's impact?
Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you for having me on. I don't think that the President Trump is walking back the DOJ efforts at all. Listen, one of the things that we should be very thankful for is that President Trump and Elon Musk are being straightforward with the American people, which is that if they cut somebody who should be coming back, they're admitting it, and they're admitting it very publicly, and they're bringing these people back in. But let me remind you, we have 2.4 million federal workers, and that's excluding military, and that's excluding the Postal Service. And right now, only about 6% of those are working in person in the office full time. That's a serious problem. And remember, we have a $37 trillion debt. We're running $2 trillion annual deficits. We have to get this under control. And the best way to do that, the best way to begin that process, is to go after a bloated, wasteful bureaucracy. And that's exactly what President Trump and Elon Musk are doing. So I'm excited to see our work continue and put the pedal to the floor and to get our government under control.
Yeah, the Dems have really pushed back on this. Recently, your colleague here from Florida, Carlos Jimenez from Florida, appeared on CNN to discuss Elon's meeting with House Republicans. Now, he was questioned by Caitlin Collins about why an outsider such as Elon Musk is tasked with doing the job that elected lawmakers should seemingly be handling. Here's that exchange. Watch.
Congress picked these people to do these jobs and have oversight of these agencies and then to report back to Congress.
Right.
So wouldn't that be your role as an elected lawmaker, and not just yours, but your colleagues as well, to do that instead of having Elon Musk do it?
No, I like Elon Musk doing it because Elon Musk is outside of government and he's going to look at things in a completely different light. Once you're in government, you have a certain paradigm and you follow that paradigm. Elon Musk doesn't have that paradigm.
So, Congressman, what do you make of the criticism that Elon Musk is doing with the job and the other elected officials that are tasked with handling this? And also just on making a lot of these changes permanent. What's your take on it?
Well, Elon Musk and his team are working as employees of the President of the United States, as members of the executive branch. So he is, and his team is within the government. Remember, their job is to make recommendations to different agencies onto what makes sense to cut. So that is what they're doing, and they're working for the president. Now, to the criticism that they're perhaps usurping power that should be in the legislature, I'd remind everybody that for years, in fact, for decades, Congress has asked these various agencies, particularly during the Biden administration, for information about where our tax dollars are actually going, and these agencies have stonewalled Congress. They've done everything they can to obfuscate what they're actually doing. We are bringing the government back to the American people. We're bringing accountability back to our government, which has been gone for so long. This is exactly what the American people want. They want a government that is responsive to their needs and actually listens to their elected representatives. And, you know, sometimes to get that under control, you got to do things a little bit differently, and that's what Elon Musk is doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He spends so much time on X. He's able to interact with people who use the platform all the time. That's something new. Obviously, you yourself, a freshman member of Congress, a lot to keep track of. I'm sure that's very interesting. But also, before we let you go, Congressman, the idea of the DOJ dividend, that $5,000 sort of refund for the American public, you think about all the taxpayer funds that are now being uncovered. Do you support that idea?
Well, listen, we're only in the first stages of DOJ. Listen, this is a process. We've got to first qualify all of these wasteful programs, figure out what they are, then we've got to quantify them, then we've got to categorize them and figure out, are these fiscal year 2025 or fiscal year 2026, and then we can start looking at slashing them from our budget, and only then can we start figuring out where this money is going to go. So I don't want to get ahead of things, but I think right now we've got to put our head down and continue identifying the waste and then getting the process going with the CBO to see how much this really is. What is the quantity of money that we can save before we start figuring out where it goes. So I don't want to get ahead of that process, but I think it's certainly something that's being discussed.